really thank you for to you all, to our speakers, and to the participants who joined in, and there are participants also probably from different time zones. And welcome to this I Know Me annual student meet. It's a pleasure to have you all here. And I Know Me, as you know, it stands for I Know Myself. I stress that it's spelled as I-N-O-M-I. I know myself. And we are a self-discovery based career and college guidance company based in India with students from across the globe. And we work with students from grade 9 onwards. My name is Anjana Anand. We have our team. We have Richa. She's the leader of I Know Me. We have Kamalika here. We have Romi here. And we are very, very happy to have the speakers from US, from the leading universities, from Princeton to Barnard to USC to Caltech. And we're very, very happy to have you here. So just before we begin the formal session we start talking to the speakers, let's look at what I Know Me does in a short film. Over to you, Richa. Yes. Richa, we are unable to hear the sound.
Sorry, my mistake. I started from the beginning. Here we are, guys, just sort of about our company and the process that we follow for self-discovery, career and college guidance. Here goes, playing it again.
Well, so that was about I Know Me. To all of you who've joined just now, again, once again, a very, very warm welcome. How the format is going to be, I think I forgot to mention Aditya. We have also Aditya from Georgiatech. So our first session is on the US universities. And I repeat, we have Edhita Single from USC, we have Abhiram from Caltech, we have Aditya from Georgiatech, we have Mayan from Princeton, and we have Arshiya from Barnard. I don't see Arshiya. Arshiya's there, yes. Right, I think I mentioned all our US speakers are here. Right. So thank you once again, all of you, for taking out the time despite being in different time zones. I know for some of you, it's very early in the morning. And how it's going to work is, as we have said, that it's a freewheeling conversation. And so you can just start talking about how's the life in your respective college, how are the classes, how did you actually manage to land there, what are the courses you are pursuing. And I will try and see if I can ask you some specific question, but let's make it more like an interaction. And to all the participants here, I request that whatever questions that you may have, you can start typing it in the chat box, and then we'll have the the speakers address those questions, right? So where do we begin? Should we go alphabetically, or you want to volunteer, this, dear speakers? Yes, when you start, you can just introduce yourself. Which university are you in? What courses are you pursuing? And just think that what would you like to tell the prospective students for whom your college is a dream? So where do we begin? We begin with you, Aditya.
Yeah, I can go ahead.
Okay, great. So we have
Awesome.
Aditya from Georgiatech. So Aditya, why don't you tell us about how did you actually choose Georgiatech, and how's the life like there, and what kind of a place, what kind of college, faculty, students? Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll try to go over as much as I can, but like just let me know if I miss something.
Yeah, sure.
So I think it dates back to like how I got into coding and programming altogether. Um, and I really wanted to solve problems, and I thought the best way of doing it is through, programming and just like building stuff, Raspberry Pi, electrical hardware, things like that. And when I was making my like college list, obviously, I was going off of ranking and engineering programs that were in the US. And that's how you came across Georgia Tech. And I began my journey pretty late because I decided to go to the US in when I was in 12th grade. So it was pretty last moment. And I was trying to get as much as I can like out of my entire journey. And that's where I received a lot of help and in building my applications and things like that. And Georgia Tech was definitely like a dream come true for me. And that's when I, decided like that this is my shot into making it big. So at Tech, I'm currently pursuing computer science. I have had the opportunity to participate in 2 research opportunities, and I have done 4 internships so far in like the last 3 years. So there are plenty of opportunities. The people on campus are great. The professors are great. The thing is, the only thing you is required from you is that you have the initiative to reach out to people, and that you're willing to put in the hard work. So as much as you can, reach out to people, friends, professors, other faculties, and the fact that you're able to demonstrate your abilities, you're good to go. You'll get tons and tons of opportunities your way. Talking about the classes, well, it depends. Certain classes are very small, very focused. So if there are specialization classes, there'll be anywhere between 20 to 40 students. If they're a bigger like core class such as math or like a introduction CS class, there's going to be 300, 400 students. But the really strong thing about classes at Tech is the fact that you have a very strong network of teaching assistants who are always there to help you. And other than that, a lot of people say that Tech has very cutthroat competition, but I have not found that personally. People are really helpful. They're really willing to give you your best experience. So that's really great to have. And as for campus life, we're right in this city of Atlanta, so it's pretty hype during the day and night. We have a lot of football games, we have a lot of concerts, events, and companies coming to our campus. So on a daily basis, you're going to be walking anywhere between 2 to 5 kilometers, just like actively, trying to be on campus and engaging in different clubs and activities.
How wonderful. That's thank you so much, Aditya. You did
Yep.
cover all the points. We'll probably come back to you again with a specific question. Yes, so who's going next? Yeah. Should we have you, Mayan? I believe seems you are on the road. So let's hear you out about Princeton.
Yeah, sounds good. So I just finished my first year at Princeton actually. Um, I'd say I'd say the biggest piece of advice I have going into college is to not have FOMO. I think I think going into Princeton, you're oversaturated with opportunities and things to do. And one of the biggest things I learned was when you just really need to pick how you allocate your time. I think the same goes for the actual classes wise, faculty wise, similar to what Aditya said. The onus of reaching out to people and taking advantage of where you are does lie on you. People are super friendly and everyone there is there to help you. It's just going into college, the sum up of my first year at Princeton would be don't have FOMO. When you need help, ask for it because it's everyone's job there to really help you out. And just really consciously allocate your time. Besides that, I think in terms of social life at Princeton, social life at Princeton is, I think, less exciting than some of the other campuses because Princeton is like a college town kind of place. It's in New Jersey, so it's like a small suburban town. Everything shuts at 8 p.m., 9 p.m., and there's not much else to do in Princeton besides hang out on campus with your friends. On the weekends, you could go to New York City. It's the closest big city. There's also Philadelphia. Um, Academics were definitely very difficult. I think grade deflation is a real thing at Princeton, which I didn't really consider until I actually ended up here. So that's another thing to keep in mind.
Would you
That's the
explain
general,
deflation a little bit more for our participants? How does it happen?
of course. Yeah, so before getting to Princeton, I really had no idea what the grading system would be like. I thought it'd be kind of uniform across all universities, but after getting here, I just realized that some departments at Princeton, especially STEM departments, have extremely harsh grading curves and whatnot. So Princeton is a bit infamous for grade deflation. So if you were to compare your like objective performance across different universities, at Princeton you would end up with a lower GPA than you would at different colleges, assuming everything else remains the same and your performance is identical. That's one more thing to consider. Um, that's the academics and social side and my few learnings from the year summed up. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Mayan. So should we have Edhita? Should we have you speak up about your college journey so far? How did you land up there? What are the courses? I believe you are pursuing a very unique set of courses there. So just do talk about that. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I go to USC. I'm majoring in intelligence and cyber operations, which is essentially cybersecurity. USC is, I think, one of the 4 universities in the US that offers this program. So it is pretty unique and it's a great opportunity. But I didn't come into USC studying this. So initially, I was going to go to the UK to study law, but I wasn't 100% sure. And because of the lack of major flexibility, I decided to come to the US and I picked USC. And when I came here, I was taking a class for my law and tech minor, and that's when I came across the cybersecurity major, and I switched into it. One thing that I really love about USC is that they're very flexible when you want to switch your major. I switched my major 3 times right now, and they're very open about it. The advisors are helpful. You just have to, of course, take the initiative to go set up meetings with them and have conversations with them. Specifically for my major, because it's so niche, there are like less students in it, but at the same time, the faculty is really good. Something that USC really invests in is the professors that they have. And I've got industry professionals who are teaching me, people who are like really high up places who can help you with internships and give you resume feedback and hold those kind of sessions. So USC as a college is very it's very holistic in the sense it's also going to always help you further your career and make the best of what resources you have.
All right. Thank you, Aditya. We'll come back to you again. Yes, can we have you, Arshiya? I'll come back to you the last. So let me have Abhiram first, if that's okay. Yes, Abhiram from Caltech.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, Caltech is like much more STEM focused as you would expect. And I think my main takeaway from the campus is people are saying it's a small, close-knit community from the very beginning, but you don't know how small it's very small. Like you can walk across the campus and it's not even like half a mile. Uh, and classes are only like at max 100. So yeah, it's the lectures are much more like one-on-one type. And so like and like other places like they force you have to come to office hours, you have to do this, you have to do that. But it's overall the classes were quite difficult. The first year I found myself basically everything here runs on the honor code. So like even exams are take home. You just take home and then you have a whole week to finish the exam basically, like
Mhm.
your final exam, midterm exam. So it's just there are very creative questions. It's quite difficult to solve. You have to sit there like 5, 6 hours trying to solve them. So unless you're like very interested in your major, I won't suggest it. And
Okay.
it's and
What's
yes,
the
it should
major
definitely be
you
STEM
are?
because humanities aren't that great at this campus.
Okay. What's the major you are pursuing, Abhiram? If you could tell our participants, what did you
Yeah, I should
choose
have
and how
taken
did you
it.
choose that?
Yeah, so luckily in like 8th grade itself, I knew that I wanted to do physics and I wanted to do physics research. So yeah, I'm doing physics at Caltech. So since then itself, I knew what to do. And then we met Richa in like 9th or 10th grade, and we started applying to summer schools and everything else. And
Mhm.
from there, I slowly built my profile, just purely laser focused on just physics because I didn't have much time to do extracurricular activity.
Okay.
So yeah, it was mostly academic.
All right. So it's more academic and more research oriented and a much
Yeah.
smaller university. All right.
Yes, and the
So,
research opportunities are also really good. You'll easily get whatever opportunity you want because the teacher to student ratio is like there's 3 teachers per like 1 student for in
oh,
some
wow.
students.
That's like a lot of focus, a lot
Yeah,
of attention to the students, and I'm sure your interests are being taken care of very well. Yeah. Okay. So we have Arshiya from Barnard. Yes, Arshiya. Tell us about your journey so far. How did you land up at Barnard?
Um, Hi everyone. Um, Barnard College is like a women's liberal arts college, right? And the way I ended up there, like from all of my decisions, it was pretty clear cut for me because like it very easily aligned with like one of my missions, which was to work for women and to uplift women and to advocate for them. And Barnard just outrightedly like that's literally what its mission is. So honestly, it was a very easy choice for me to make. Um, I think when people ask me about Barnard College, they are very curious to know its relationship with Columbia University. So I think that's something that I can talk about today. So in terms of like courses, for instance, okay, first of all, in terms of major options at Barnard, I would say that there isn't a huge, like there's a good enough range, but I wouldn't say that there's a huge, like too much of an elaborate like range of majors to pick from. So do keep that in mind. But in terms of its like relationship with Columbia there, like I feel like you're able to pick any class at like it is a women's college, so you can be only admitted if you're a woman. However, like you can take any classes at Columbia and any Columbia students can take any classes they wish to at Barnard. So in terms of that, like it is pretty like your class population will be pretty diverse in terms of that. And there's no restriction as such as to which professors or which classes you pick and at which college, because Columbia has 18 colleges. However, like obviously thinking about the undergraduate ones, and like unless you're specifically doing like engineering, then you can't go out of your way to like pick classes at different college. However, between Columbia College and Barnard College specifically, you can like go ahead and pick most of the classes that you like. Another difference that I noticed was like, for instance, I don't have a specific major as of yet that I've decided on. However, I've explored with humanities subjects, I've explored with computer science subjects, I've explored with economics related subjects. So one thing is for sure that like a class that you need for the economics major, that class at Barnard is going to be smaller, but the equivalent class of that at Columbia is going to be way bigger. So it honestly just depends on your kind of learning style and the teaching style that you prefer. And so I do feel like at Barnard sometimes you get more individualized attention from your professors, while that might not be true at Columbia because the classes are a little bit bigger. But then again, it depends on what class you're taking. But like honestly, it just depends on the class. Like you might like the professor better at Columbia, and you might find that a networking opportunity with this specific Columbia professor is much better for you. So you might choose to take that class instead, or it could depend on certain class timings that you prefer having. So honestly, like I feel like that really opened like a wider range of opportunities for me, just having so many options to choose from. In terms of campus life, I would say that Barnard is a very like it has a very small campus. So I wouldn't say that there's much to specifically do on that campus, but I feel like you typically see like you have this idea of like people sitting on the grass and like doing picnics and stuff. Like you can do that at Barnard, you can do that at Columbia. I would say that so Columbia's campus is right across the street. Like you quite literally cross the road and you have Columbia's campus. Columbia's campus is way bigger, especially for a campus being in the middle of New York City on the Upper West Side in the middle of Manhattan. It's quite a big campus for that. And you can do a lot on that campus as well. However, I would say that one of the perks of being at Columbia or at Barnard is that you're in such a major city. So you get to go out and enjoy the benefits of being in such a major city as well. And I feel like just like I spoke about the courses, what I would want to clarify about clubs, for instance, that you can join would be that obviously there's a huge range of clubs that you can join. And, you know, there's multiple clubs for one particular passion. And I'm sure that all the clubs that exist cover so many different kinds of passions that students want to like continue working on. So the relationship works similarly. Like you can join any club that specifically Columbia started. You can join any club that specifically Barnard started. There's no such rule as such. For sports, I would say like sports. So for sports, for instance, like the women's basketball team, for instance, like there's only one team and that is the Columbia team. Barnard students can obviously, like you can have Barnard students part of that team, but it'll be like called as one team. So as such, again, like you can join any club that you wish. Like the relationship is pretty like smooth in that sense. And then in terms of like profile building and stuff like that, I feel like just in general throughout high school, my focus in terms of like any research that I did the IB program, so any research that I did through that or any kind of clubs that I was in during school or anything that I did outside of school kind of lined up with my like passion for women empowerment, which I'm sure reflected really well to the admissions committee at Barnard, because it aligns so well with their mission anyway. And I do feel like one other thing that kind of worked well for my application was kind of showing that I had connected back to my culture, especially being like an international student. So I feel like I did have a lot of stuff on my profile that kind of led back to that as well, like the Indian culture and stuff like that. So yeah, let me know if I missed anything.
Yeah, all right. Thank you, Arshiya. That was a very, very detailed and very, focused explanation of each and every point that
Thank you.
you covered, and you covered it pretty well. So I will just like for our participants to know, Abhiram, I was very curious about when you said about the pure STEM orientation and how It's like every exam is also one particular problem that you have to solve it creatively, and you can take it home 5-6 hours. So tell me, beyond the acads, what does Caltech offer in terms of clubs and societies and the social life in general? How is that?
Okay, so yeah, beyond academics, I guess, okay, the main selling point is obviously research. It's not the classes. It's the research opportunities you get throughout the year and in the summer. And there you get paid very well as well. You get paid like 7,000 for like 3 months. It's pretty
Okay.
good. Clubs, etc. There are like small clubs. Like I said, the college is quite small. The clubs aren't going to be too big. And there's not much to do on campus, but we're 30 minutes away from LA. So like every other weekend, we just go somewhere in LA. We go to maybe USC.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, there are places to go. There
Okay.
are places to go. But you have to put the initiative yourself. On campus, there's not many events that go on.
All
It's
right.
usually people just grinding.
It's people grinding and doing research, right? So all the
Yeah.
innovations and all. So you already have a research and innovation product that you're working on, right?
Yeah, yeah, this summer,
Okay.
right now.
Okay. All right. So my next question is to you, Aditya, that at Georgia Tech, it's of course a tech-focused university. So beyond the tech, what are the other opportunities, acads or non-academic, that you get to explore? In terms of, I should say that the connection to the real world, how does that work out there at Georgia Tech?
Right. So if I'd go beyond like just the engineering and computer science aspect, we also have a very good business school,
Mm-hmm.
or like a MBA program. And the thing with that is like, so it's like our college, like the engineering block is connected with the business block. So there's a lot of interdisciplinary events that keep happening. So so for example, I was heavily interested in like the stock market and like how finance modeling and other those kind of stuff work. So as a CS major, we had clubs that we could join, which was open to anybody, and through those clubs you get a lot of exposure. They'll like give you workshops, mentorships, etc. And as a CS major you can also take business classes because you have like 2 or 3 free electives, so you can take any class you want in that. So I personally went ahead and took like a project management class. I took like a stock market valuation class. So that is like an example of you and being in the as a being a part of the business school. Then there are like breakfast events that happen. So hedge fund companies, you have other like big finance companies coming in on like a weekly basis, and they'll give some talk about the market, and then it's like an open-ended networking session. So that is one aspect of it. We have a very good international law kind of program as well. So again, you free electives, you can take a class there. You can learn about how lawmaking is done on an international level, and then you can interact with the professor there. And again, like as I mentioned in my first answer, as long as you're outgoing, reaching out to people, I can reach out to a business professor and be in a project with
Okay.
him. So
Right.
they're willing to give you any sort of support as long as you're showing them that you're ready to work and you're interested about the field.
Great. Thank you. And so, Edhita, just as a contrast to Caltech, the USC, the huge campus and the multiple schools, would you tell us a little more about how does the, I should say, the exchange happens between the two schools? You're a part of the Viterbi school, if I'm correct?
My major is a combination between the Viterbi School and the Donsai School.
Okay, so how does that work, and the sheer size of the campus, in terms of facilities and all? So how do you actually, as a student, are able to make use of the various facilities that are available to you? Yes.
I mean, the huge campus, I definitely like it because every single year I have classes in different buildings, ones that I've never seen before. So I'm constantly discovering new parts of campus. Um, I think a lot of it is, of course, taking your own initiative to find out what resources are available to you. You can talk to your friends, you can talk to your professors. There are a lot of clubs on campus. So I think we even have like a wine and cheese club, like on one end, and then you've got like a very like CS and like tech consulting focus club on the other end. So there are, of course, like clubs that fit everyone's interests. And if there isn't a club that fits your interest, you can just create a club. Um, so I think that's definitely good. Um, okay, yes, that part. And what else did you ask? Sorry.
Yeah, so no, I was just looking at that. Yes, that's fine. I think you've answered in terms of how does the exchange between the two schools happen, that you said that it's basis your own initiative. We'll figure out that which are the courses you can, choose. How did you land up choosing these courses, which are like one is at Donsif and the other is with Viterbi School of Engineering at USC?
Um, so right before being a cybersecurity major, I was a political science major. And but I had a law and technology minor, but then I kind of realized that my major, which is technically the full name is intelligence and cyber operations, it's half international relations classes, which is what's hosted in the Donsai school, and half of them are cybersecurity classes, which are hosted in the Viterbi school. So USC has quite a few of these like combined majors. Like you've got like one between I think the business school and the cinema school. You've got some between Donsai and Viterbi. So, like computer science business administration is one of those majors, which is even with the business school. So they have a lot of these interdisciplinary majors, which is definitely cool because you get exposure to both the schools and you get access to all of their resources.
Okay, great. All right. So my next question is to you, man. At Princeton, how does this work? The choosing the major. How did you choose? What? Of course, there's flexibility, but you've chosen your major, right? Would you like to talk about that?
Yeah, sure. So, my background is a little bit interesting. I had a 2-year gap between finishing high school and actually going to college. Actually, I live in Singapore and I recently became a Singaporean citizen. So what that meant was I had to serve in the army for 2 years. So during those 2 years, it gave me a lot of time, like a lot more time than everyone else has had to kind of mull over what I wanted my major to be. And that attempt was unsuccessful. I still had no idea what I wanted my major to be going into college. I had a rough idea that, hey, long term, maybe 10, 15 years down the line, I would like to be at the intersection of entrepreneurship and technology. And I tried to kind of work backwards to figure out what undergrad major would best fit that. And I realized that I didn't really know enough to be able to commit to one major. And what I found at Princeton, as opposed to some of the other larger schools, is that there's a huge amount of flexibility between departments. So I initially went in as a mechanical engineering major, and I've kind of hopped around computer science, electrical and computer engineering. I've hopped around a bunch of different departments, which at Princeton they really encourage and are very open to. I have some of my friends who have come in as physics majors, and one of them is now studying comparative literature. So switching between the different schools and departments within Princeton is very accessible and easy. And I think that's because of Princeton's focus on its undergrad. Like Princeton has a tiny graduate population, and all their attention is on the undergrad students. So they don't have a business school either, actually. Um, they have, they offer, they allow students to do only one major. You cannot double major at Princeton. You can only do one major and you can have a bunch of different minors. Um, and currently, I'm an electrical and computer engineering major. And what led me to this decision is I just wanted something that was super flexible and versatile. And my kind of idea going into college was during these 4 years, I want to build like a really robust, uh, like a robust hard skills toolkit, which would help me later on in life. So to sum it up in one line, I picked my major because I wasn't sure what I'm passionate about. I have a rough idea of what I want to do in the future. I know Princeton is very flexible in terms of swapping between departments. And I know that electrical and computer engineering is probably the most versatile choice for me right now. That's pretty much how the process went. And yeah.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much, man. That was very insightful. Okay, so we have a question from one of our participants. As a grade 11 student, she wants to know that what is the admission process for these universities and what do the admission officers look for? Just to add to that, to all of you, is that what should the student actually do to reach where you have reached in terms of landing at your preferred colleges? And second part of that question is if you could say that if you have to redo, what is it that you wouldn't do? Kind of a tip for the prospective students from all of you who are aiming for these colleges that you are in. Yes. Would like to begin? Abhiram?
Yeah, I guess I'll start with the second one. So the one of the big mistakes I did was I think I ended up using too many buzzwords and like I overcomplicated my application. All they're looking for here is that you're genuinely interested in whatever you're doing. Doesn't even matter if it's doesn't even matter if it's STEM even. Yes, it does, but like doesn't have to be like specific. You can do whatever you're interested in as long as you show your interest and then that you have taken use of all the opportunities that were presented to full extent, then they don't care. Like, yeah, some people they have like if you're in IB, you'll do much more research projects. If you're in like a coaching institute like me, then you do like one research project maybe. So like they don't care. They just want to see based on your background if you've used most of it.
Okay, so you made the most of the resources and opportunities available to you. Yes, what do
Yes.
you have to say to that, Aditya?
Yeah, so in terms of thing that I would change, probably is like I believe I made a I don't like in hindsight I know I didn't make a mistake, but I started pretty late. I started like at the end of my 11th grade, like beginning of 12th grade after COVID hit. So now one, there were not too many opportunities because I still had a long way to go in profile building. And and two, like um you know you have to give the SAT exam, you have to give like IELTS, you have to give the clear like the AP exams, things like that. So it is hectic, it's very hectic. uh, but the thing I would change is like probably starting a little sooner. But the thing I had for me was I knew what I had to do or what I wanted to do. So it was very easy for me to like piece everything together and for 1 year just like go in a very focused stream.
All right. What's your message to the students, Arshiya?
So mine's a little off topic from the like, well, it's not directly related to like the actual thing that I submitted for admissions, but I would say that I feel like throughout high school I was pretty consistent in what I was passionate about and my goals. However, I feel like towards the end of it, when the pressure started building up about college applications and like 20 different submissions and grades, um, I let what other people thought get to my head. Like, I feel like other people perceive you in a certain way, and I let that kind of um, really impact like my journey with the admission process. Like, I would let that kind of stress me out, and I feel like sometimes that reflected in the quality of the work that I might have submitted. Um, So yeah, just that. Like I would, if anything, like if I could go back and change something, it would definitely be like don't don't try to fit in into the view of like what other people have of you. Like just like stay consistent and true to yourself. Like whatever you've been working on, just trust that it's the best, that it's good enough. Like you don't have to worry about the expectations other people put on you, whether that might be your parents, that might be your friends, whoever it is. And I know it might sound a little cliche coming from like I remember that when I used to be in like webinars like this, I used to be like, oh well, like you're already in a university, a good one, something that you like, and you're giving me like cliche advice. And I know as cliche as it sounds, I would definitely say that this had like the worst impact on me. Not only I feel like it might have, like I said, it reflected in my work, in the quality of my work, but I feel like it also just like reflected on my mental health. And I feel like I even saw like continued like impacts of it that I wasn't able to get over in the summer between like school and college. Like I feel like that in some ways like even impacted my first like semester at college. But yeah.
Okay, great. That's a good tip. Be true to yourself and just follow what you're passionate about and be consistent in your efforts. Yes. Aditya, what would you like to say to, if you have to go back, or an advice for the prospective students?
Um, at least for me, I thought that a lot of my college essays, I was focusing on sounding really smart, really polished, and I don't think I was always very authentic and true to myself. And like Arshiya mentioned, I think that's a quality that you have to maintain throughout the college application process. So what I would like to say is just make sure that, yeah, of course, your essays have to sound good, but also the core message is actually who you are. I think that's what colleges are looking for. And I think that should just reflect in your entire profile. I don't personally, my profile, like all my activities were kind of tailored towards like what I wanted to do. But I think in your extracurriculars, it's also nice to have like a few different ones that are maybe something that you're just doing for fun, whether it's like taking baking classes or playing an instrument or something of that sort. Kind of show some sort of diversity in your extracurriculars, because I can't speak for all universities, but that is something that USC definitely looks at. They don't want you to be only focused on what you're studying, but they want like a diverse like portfolio.
All right, great. That's a very good tip. Mayan, would you like to add to what has been said in terms of admission process and what should they focus on?
Yeah, so in my case, again, I had an extra 2 years. So my school had a cap of 10 applications in total, but I was able to spread them out over a 3-year time frame.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like my biggest learning, which again, as everyone else is saying, is at the start, the first time that I did applications, it was pretty much me looking at a bunch of other successful college applications, just browsing for hours and hours on the internet, like successful college essays or profiles of people who got in. And so like my college application process was pretty much an attempt to replicate one of those, like twist it, add a few things in, remove a few things, but it was basically replication, and I was really just trying to match up to these applications. But I think what everyone says about being authentic and being genuine is really what it means is you need to build like your own personal brand. Like
Yeah.
after you go through your own college application, you should get a really good idea of who you are as a person. Like it's not a lot of space. It's a couple of pages for you to paint a picture of who you are. And I think you need to start figuring out what that brand image you want to build is. So for me, like the first year that I applied only to Harvard, and I tried to build this kind of storyline that painted me in like a very entrepreneurial and techie light. But it again was kind of an attempt at replicating what other essays had been doing. But when I applied to Princeton, I kind of leaned into my own personal experiences.
Mm-hmm.
I talked a lot about, so I kind of I wanted to bring my personality across. So my essays really had a range of different messages that they were conveying. One of my essays was about my time in the army, which I wanted to use to kind of show some level of maturity, show that hey, I've gone through this pretty unique experience that most kids coming into college as freshmen haven't gone through. I wanted to show a kind of a sense of humor through some of the other essays.
Mm-hmm.
So I talked about a number of languages I can speak, and ideally, if I were to learn just one more language, then I can speak to 8 out of 10 people that I get stuck in an elevator with. I also talked about some of my past kind of mini projects, like things that I tried to build, or kind of social work that I tried to do. And I think one thing that I realized was it's most of the essays and successful applications I saw were very templated in the sense that it was very happy ever after kind of ending, like things kind of worked out in the end. But in my essays, I kind of talked about how stuff didn't really work out and
Mm-hmm.
what I took away from that. So I think you need to build a brand image for yourself. You need to kind of start at a point where, okay, I'm going to sum myself up in one sentence, like this is what I want them to take away. And
Mm-hmm.
then you kind of start to like add a few flourishes, you add some sense of humor, you add like some other interesting part of your personality, like this weird hobby that you have, etc. But before you go into it, you need to have like a one liner for your own brand image. That's kind of
That,
what I took away after the 3 years.
that's, I think, sums up very well that you have to have your own personal brand that reflects in your application through and through, right? So we have a couple of questions from the participants. One is if you could talk about, any one of you could take it, the medical facilities, the Indian community, and the boarding facilities in the colleges that you are in. Any one of you would like to take it up? Yeah,
I can
yeah,
go.
sure.
Uh,
Go ahead.
Medical facilities, we've got like an on-campus hospital, like a healthcare center, and you pay a fee at the start of every semester for like medical insurance, and just in your fee, it's covered where you can go to the healthcare center and get treated for free. So that's pretty accessible. Then the Indian community, USC has a really huge Indian community. We have about, I think, around 150 students in my year that came from India alone. So, and a lot of the graduate students are Indian. So you've got a lot of like Indian clubs and events that go on. Um, so that's pretty, like a lot of people end up going to these like Diwali parties that they have, or they have like Navratri parties. So that's pretty fun.
Mhm.
And as far as boarding goes, so for USC, the first 2 years, you've got guaranteed on-campus housing. So that's really good because you don't have to stress about going off campus and trying to find your own living situation. And in your third and fourth year, though it's not guaranteed, you can apply to get on-campus housing, and that's like a hit or miss. You may get it because it's a lottery system, you may not. But by that time, a lot of people move off campus, but there are a lot of off-campus places that are near campus. So then it's maybe like a 10-minute walk. So it's not even that far.
Great. We have a question on scholarship and financial aid, especially for international students. Have you, any of you have had the opportunity to avail of it, or you are aware of the opportunities that you can share?
Yeah, so I actually, one of my considerations in picking Princeton was its financial aid itself. So I think from back when I was making my choice, like I had to pick between CMU, UCB, Princeton, and a few other places. And for international students, financial aid is pretty crap at any other college. Princeton says that they're need blind. If you apply for financial aid, they'll treat everyone who applies the same way. There's no loan system, so I'm on partial financial aid at Princeton right now as well. So that was a, a pretty big factor in me making my decision, at least for Princeton.
Okay. Great. And we also have a question which says, how much did your numeric profile matter? Yeah, how much did your numeric profile matter? So from that, I understand, Divya, it is the scores you mean, right? The academic grade and the standardized testing score. So would you have an answer to that? Of course, it does matter, but any of you would like to take that up? Okay.
Yeah,
And
I can go ahead with that.
yes, Aditya, tell me. Yes.
I think as far as like engineering heavy schools are concerned, your numeric profile matters a lot, because I have had a few of my friends who got like their 12th grade like percentage was like 1 or 2% less than mine, and almost having the same, if not better, extracurriculars, like they couldn't make it. So, I mean, in hindsight, like I feel like it was just the fact that, you didn't make some sort of a 95% cutoff benchmark sort of thing.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yes, and of course, and we also say that academic or the numeric profile is the hygiene factor when it comes to primarily the US colleges, definitely. That, you have to have your grades high and your test scores high. That's the base. And then you look at what makes you stand out. That's been very, very insightful tips, very useful tips from each one of you. And we are almost nearing the end of our US colleges part. And we are extremely thankful to all of you, Abhiram, Aditya, Mayan, Edhita, and Arshiya, for joining in despite your commitments with internships and the challenges of the time zones. So thank you very much. You're most welcome to continue to stay on. We have our speakers from UK who joined in, some of them. And once again, from I Know Me, a very good evening to all the participants who are a part of it. And thank you for joining in. And thank you once again to all of you speakers from the US universities to take it on further. And we have Divya saying thank you for your inputs and sharing your experiences so generously. Thank you, Divya. That's a lovely thank you note in the chat. And now we have Vishrut here. I saw his name.
Yeah,
Yep,
Vishrut is
I'm
here.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Vishrut, can you
Vishrut is
join
here.
now? Is the network issue resolved?
Yeah,
Not yet. I will be able to switch on my camera,
that's
but I
all
can speak.
right.
Okay, we can start with Aditi and Paramveer.
Yeah, right. So we have Vishrut from LSC. And we have Aditi from St. Andrews. We have Paramveer from Cologne Business School, Germany. Thank you guys for joining in. It's really a pleasure to have you here as part of this I Know Me annual student meet. And we really appreciate you taking out time for I Know Me participants for this meet. And do we have the other students also join in right now, or we just have the UK ones, the speakers?
UK and Germany.
UK and Germany. All right. So once again, a request to the participants, please put in your questions in the chat box that you specifically have regarding LSE and St. Andrews and Germany, CBS. So beginning with what I would like that Vishrut, Paramveer and Aditi, one by one. If you could just talk about how did you land up where you landed up? How did you choose and what major or what course that you choose? And how has the experience been so far at your respective universities in terms of student life, faculty, classes, lectures, internships, or whatever else? Yes, go ahead, please. Who would like to begin?
I
Should
could
we?
start, ma'am.
Yes, yes, Paramveer. Thank you so
So,
much. Yes, please
very
go
good
ahead.
evening to everyone. My name is Paramveer, and I am currently in India right now on holiday, but I am in Cologne in the school. And the biggest reason why I actually went there was because I've actually been pursuing German as a language since school. My school is Kunskapsskolan. It was a Swedish-based school just in Gurgaon, and it provided me the opportunity to learn this language ever since I was in fifth. And I think I just had a natural, talent, I would say, to pick up the language very, and that's one of the biggest reasons why I chose Germany in particular. But also, I would say that Germany is one aspect of things, because if you end up in Germany, you can actually travel a lot within the EU. So other than the student and academia life, which is sacrosanct, you have a lot of other adventures and exploration options to, go through. So that's that. But personally, Germany it's been a tough one. It's been a tough journey. I was earlier in Frankfurt, and unfortunately, in my situation, there was a bit of a visa delay. So Frankfurt was not a successful run for me, and hence I moved to Cologne. Fortunately for me, they were very accommodating with my course, even with my housing, and even with understanding the issues of the entire academia between Frankfurt and Cologne. They do provide with certain financial aid, but it's also based on your performance on the exams that you give in the classes. Germany is also, it provides you with a compulsory pre-college. So you have to spend 1 year doing a sub-course basically before the college starts. But it primarily just consists of your 11th and 12th course, so it should not be as difficult as it seems. But I think the more important aspect to really look at would be the sense of individuality and independence that you're going to get. And it can be tremendously overwhelming, because when I got my visa, I just ended up landing there all by myself without my parents. I had to, figure everything out. But at the same time, it really adds to your personality. It builds character, and it just helps you progress along the way. Yes, you make mistakes, but you need to make mistakes in order to actually perfect your future steps.
How beautifully you put.
Thank you.
And that was a nice one.
Thank you.
Right. Yes. So Aditi, at St. Andrews, tell us what you are pursuing and how is it going? Yes.
Yeah, so I'm currently studying neuroscience at St. Andrews, although I originally applied for psychology. So I think a big thing about St. Andrews is that there's a lot of flexibility in your degree. I'm really enjoying it. It's a very small town, so it's not like some of the other big London universities that you might be applying to. But it's really good for harboring specific interests. There are a lot of different societies, a lot of different clubs that you can pursue alongside your degree. So it's a really good all-round opportunity in the university.
All right. Yes. So we have, thank you, Aditi. We have Vishrut here now from LSE. Vishrut, would you please highlight your experiences so far at LSE? Vishrut, are you?
Sure. So, yes, I'm here.
Yeah.
So to begin with, I was always clear about UK because choosing between India, UK, and US, I felt that with the kind of nature I have, UK would be the best option for me. And then obviously within the UK, removing Germany and France, countries like these, because of the language issue, the main focus was London then. And then with my subjects, with me wanting to study economics and business, universities like LSE, Warwick, King's, Imperial, maybe not Imperial, UCL. All these were the go-to universities. So that's how I arrived at LSE as one of my choices. And as far as my experience is concerned, it's been amazing so far. It's been a year now, and honestly, it's been great with everyone at LSE being very welcoming and being very supportive. I've had a great transition. I've had a smooth transition to my college life, and I'm really glad that I chose LSE over the other colleges.
All right. So Aditi, I would like to ask you about, you said that St. Andrews offered you the flexibility of the subject. So would you like to kind of explain a bit more? Because largely the UK colleges and the EU colleges are not known for, offering the flexibility that US colleges offer. Yes.
Yes, so in that way, St. Andrews is more like an American university. You can apply for one degree, and in your first and second years, you have to take 3 different subjects. So even if you applied for one course, you take 2 more courses. And then in your third and fourth year, you can choose to take a separate route or stick with your original degree. So I applied for psychology and I took biology and sustainable development in my first year. And I've decided to move off of the psychology course and onto the neuroscience course through the biology courses that I took in first year.
Okay, so
So
that,
that option, yeah.
all right. Okay, so Paramveer, would you like to talk about the major that you have taken or the discipline that you chose at CBS? And how did you go about it? How is it? Is there flexibility? What are the kind of courses that you have to study alongside?
Okay. So in Frankfurt, I took a bachelor's in financial management, which I soon realized wasn't really my calling because it was excessive number crunching, at least in my opinion. And I switched to a relatively more holistic course in Cologne Business School, where I took a bachelor's in international business. And in terms of flexibility, of course, I mean, Germany has been very, very flexible in terms of the course selections, because like I earlier mentioned, with the entire concept of the pre-college, right? So they'll give you the same subjects which you've been doing in 11th and 12th. They'll help you understand, and you can help them understand as well where exactly your strong points are, where your weak points are. And according to that, they will help you and they will recommend certain courses. After that, of course, it's up to you what you want to choose, what your calling is. But in terms of variety, there is a considerable amount of variety to choose from.
And you have the flexibility to opt for one over the other.
Yes, for sure, for sure.
Okay, that's great to know. That's a good insight for the students aiming for Germany. Okay, Vishrut, what is the discipline that you have chosen to pursue at LSE? You said economics and something?
Yeah, so it's called Bachelor's in Science and Management, but then it's essentially a mix of economics, business, and maths. So, like in my first year, I had subjects like accounting, finance, leadership, organizational leadership, and econometrics. Econometrics is actually in the second year. For the first year, I had micro and macroeconomics. So it's essentially a mix of the 3.
All right. Okay. One of the common questions that we do get asked is in terms of the boarding facilities that you have. I know, Aditi, you touched upon a little bit, but if you could tell more about how are the facilities, how are the dorms? Do you get to choose, the place that you want to stay? Or what are the rules like to, opt for the dorms? Yes.
Yes. So there are 4 different types of housing accommodation you can choose for your first year, where you're guaranteed a place to stay within the town. They all have their strengths and weaknesses. I was in a flat with 5 other people and we shared a kitchen. But that's only one type of accommodation. You could also be catered, or as I was, self-catered, so you're cooking for yourself. There are also more like American dorms in town where it's like a long corridor and you have common bathrooms and you have one big canteen at the bottom. So that's also an option. And then after your first year, you can either reapply for housing, which is you're unlikely to get, or what most people do is you find houses within the town through the different housing agencies, and then you apply and live there for the rest of the time.
Okay, great. How is it in Germany, Param?
So, ma'am, I've actually had the privilege to experience both a student accommodation and a private accommodation. And even in the student accommodation, I had a private room.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, at least when it comes to student accommodation, it is on a first come, first serve basis. However, there is a chance for you if they're completely booked, you can send an application in advance and they will put you on a priority list.
Mm-hmm.
Student accommodation is always undoubtedly going to be cheaper, but private accommodation is going to be easier to get.
Okay.
And personally, I would definitely go with student accommodation because Germany, specifically in Europe, has a completely different system of operating things. You know, if in a private accommodation, the landlord is not going to financially support or compensate for minor damages in the apartment. There are relatively larger amounts of deposits as well. But at the same time, it is a 50-50 on a student accommodation, but it also depends on, around what time you're planning on going and how early you apply for the accommodation as well.
Okay, great. Param, I'll just come back to you on another topic. Vishrut, would you like to talk about the accommodation given that it's in London? How is it, and is it a campus? How does it work for the benefit of our students? Yeah.
Right. So LSE is literally in the center of London. So it's a city university. And so we don't have accommodations on campus as such because literally there is no campus with like four walls. So like for me, I live in a private accommodation because I was a bit late in my accommodation process. And so most of the LSE accoms were sold out. So although LSE does guarantee an accommodation for the first year students, the good ones obviously are then sold out as soon as the IB results are out. And so if you're applying for accommodation in like August or maybe even September, there are good chances that you might not get a good one. So that's where the private accommodations come in. And then yeah, it's London, so you have like a lot of options all around. So you can choose to live in a flat, or you can also choose to live in a student accommodation, which is not owned by LSE, but meant only for the students. So that obviously, as mentioned, is expensive, but then it has much better facilities as compared to the LSE owned accommodations.
Okay, and how, of course, when, students go in the first year, there is, the parents have this concern of safety. So let's say you did not land up having the uni accommodation. So how safe are these student accommodations outside, like the private ones?
So I would say safety would be almost equal in both the private and the university-owned accommodations because essentially these buildings are safe. The risk is when you are walking till campus or when you're going out with friends. Because as you might know in London these days, the phone snatching rates has gone up pretty much.
Yeah, right.
So the safety concern is more when you are out on the road and not when you're inside your accommodation.
Right. So you have to be on your guard, right?
Yeah.
Okay. While I'm with you, Vishrut, also, I know from whatever experiences you have had in terms of the support system for internships and the career services at London School, if you could, talk about that.
Right. So LSE has a careers department which is solely focused on helping you make your CV upskill in terms of like different softwares and get you opportunities which are there. But then obviously, it's just like a portal wherein you have to go and apply. They don't help you with the actual application. They
Mm-hmm.
can only guide you through it. They can help you do demo interviews,
Mm-hmm.
but you are the one who have to actually go and apply and take the initiative of finding opportunities and applying for them.
So do they have companies coming in and seeking interns at LSE?
Yes, they do.
They do. So how often is that and how does that system work?
So in the UK, we obviously have the summer internships, and then we have the spring internships. So
Okay.
spring internships are mostly for like a week, wherein you just go to the organization and experience the culture
Mm-hmm.
and get to know more about the work they do.
Mm-hmm.
Some people also say that if you get into springs, you then have a good chance of getting into the summer. So
Right.
essentially, as soon as you join college in September, you
Mm-hmm.
have that pressure of applying for springs as soon as November, December,
Okay.
because these spring internships happen in March, April.
Okay.
So like me, I took some time to settle in, and so I wasn't able to apply for these spring internships in time.
Mm-hmm.
But then that's fine. You can always find other smaller summer internships with other smaller companies. So obviously it's not a do or die situation, but it's always good to have a spring internship with you if possible.
Okay, great. So that's good to know that they do have companies coming in and there are opportunities for students to seek. How is it at St. Andrews, Aditi? How has it been for you?
So internships are not as common in St. Andrews. Instead, what the uni offers is a third year placement. So what's more common is that in your third year, you will go abroad either to the US or Australia, or there are a lot of placements in Europe, depending on your degree. And then you have that opportunity instead of a summer internship. Internships are, while they have a career center and they have this opportunity center to help you find internships, but they're not through the university. They're more separate to the university.
Okay. So how is it for the jobs later on? Like once the students finish their degree, would you know of that?
Speaking to most of the like fourth years that I'm friends with, obviously I don't know too much about it yet,
Of course.
but all of the fourth years I'm speaking to, not just in neuroscience, but in other degrees, have either post-grad opportunities lined up or they have careers that they're going straight into. And they all seem pretty excited about it. So that's one testament to it, I guess. Yeah, it looks pretty positive after graduating.
All right, great. How is it for you? Yes, Vishrut, you want to add something, is it?
Yeah, just to add, so apart from the LSE careers departments that's there, we also have a lot of societies like the LSE Entrepreneurship Society, the LSE Venture Capital Society. So all these societies leverage our alumni base, and they have speakers coming in every day or every second day to talk to us and share their experiences. So
Okay.
that is another really useful source of information for us, which can be used during the application process.
Right. So that helps you build your professional network as you go along.
Exactly.
Right. Okay, good. That's great to know. So, Param, how is it in Germany in your school in terms of career services, job opportunities, internships?
It's very much available. I mean, Cologne Business School has tied up not only with certain recruitment agencies like LinkedIn and Job Teaser, but they also have direct partnerships with certain business firms and institutes and consultancy firms that on a frequent basis come to the university for orientations, for opportunities, and for recruitment purposes as well. So Germany, I think as a country, they highly encourage a lot of application-based concepts and a lot of application-based operations, I would say. So of course, education and everything is one thing, but for them, it is sacrosanct that you know how to not only memorize it in theory, but also to use it on a day-to-day life. So of course, I mean, internships, jobs are very easily available. But like I said, there is a lot of bureaucracy that is involved in the
Mm-hmm.
sense that an individual has to really, really apply through various legal bodies,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a step-by-step process, because it's just like Lego blocks, you know. The first step would be, you first have to register yourself with the apartment, then you have to register for yourself for a visa extension or a student rest permit. Then once you get the rest permit, then you can apply for a work permit. So it's just it's a slope and a progressive thing, but after a certain stage, everything just becomes smooth.
All right. And the university helps you with the process?
Definitely,
Okay.
definitely.
And tell me, when you are seeking internships, do they look for the knowledge of German language? That is a plus plus.
So German language is, of course, I would say, a very integral part of this entire system. Most of the job applications do have a German requirement, but of course you've got local German companies as well as international firms that are looking for English speakers. So it is very much possible.
Okay, great. So we have a couple of questions from the participants on the scholarships and financial aid available in your respective colleges, especially for international students. Would you like to take it up, any one of you? Even after joining, are there opportunities to avail of the scholarships, if you are aware of?
So I'm a UK citizen, so it's not international for me. But there is, through the UCAS process, I know that there's, for international students, some checks behind it to see how financial aid can be given through UCAS. In terms of through the university side, a lot of the international students have financial aid. Just speaking to my friends in the university, but I can't say too much on how the process actually works.
All right. We have another question, which I don't know, Maria, if I really understand that question. Do they follow a college parent system? Have you heard of that?
Yeah, so St. Andrews has a tradition of academic parents.
Okay.
And that's how that you, in your first year, you're adopted by third years, and then they kind of either help you through, and then there are various traditions that are like 3 centuries old that take place throughout the year.
All right, that's great. So that's good to know. That's very interesting. We have another question, Aditi. I think you would like to take it up. What are likely career options after neuroscience? If you could just highlight a little more, then we can take it up further with Mr. Molly. Yes.
Definitely. So what I'm looking into currently going into is animal behavior. So that's one area that I'm looking to go into, which would be largely research focused. Neuroscience is a really quickly expanding field. So there's a lot of research opportunities. There's a lot of corporate opportunities as well. People wanting to understand how they can advertise their products towards people using neuroscience, or how different technologies can be created, either in medicine or in therapies for like injuries and people with Parkinson's or those kind of mental disabilities. So it's a really wide field. There's a lot going on in terms of opportunities. Yeah.
That's very interesting. So I believe, Murli, you got the answer from Aditi, who's pursuing neuroscience, highlighting the breadth of this field across, I would say, the professional areas. And we are almost coming to an end to our UK section of this meet. And we have students from Canadian colleges joined. I would like to really thank Aditi, Paramveer, and Vishrut for joining in today and sharing very, very useful insights from your college experiences. And as we say that when our students, hear from the students who are there, it's definitely more inspiring, motivating, and more enlightening for them. So before you leave, just leave one tip for our students who are, aiming for the colleges you are in.
You can expect failure. I would just say that. Expect a lot of failure, but just don't doubt yourself. Don't change directions. If you've picked a path, see it through.
Okay. All right. Yes, Aditi, what's your message? And we have a question towards that also. What do you think is the most important part of your UK application, or what do you feel made you stand out? Yes.
I think my answer both of those questions. Having a really broad range of interests, I think, is really important going into university. One of the things you notice with almost everyone at St. Andrews is they have 2 or 3 different, wildly different interests that they're really passionate about. And it can be related to the degree or not related, but that's what I think the university is looking for, a lot of diversity within their students. And if you can relate that to your degree, then obviously that's great in your application. But just showing that you have a lot of different strengths and interests.
Great. What do you have to say to that, Vishrut?
So two things actually. The one is regarding the application. I'll start with that. I would say UK universities are more direct in terms of what they expect as compared to the US universities. So I would say really go to these individual university websites and look at what their way of operating is. What is their nature? What are they trying to do? Like for LSE, it's more about finding the reasons or finding the causes. And so in hindsight, when I look at my application, it was talking all about that. And maybe that's where I got an offer from LSE. So I would say really focus on what does the college really stand for. So that's one for the application bit. The second I would say is once you actually uh, go to the college, once you actually reach your desired college, you might be surprised by the new environment and with everyone being so good. I would say just don't be puzzled by it and just keep continuing your work as you do it. And yeah, that's how you settle into a new environment.
Wonderful. How wonderful is that? So we have these very, useful tips and meaningful insights coming in. And we have Ria thanking you all for sharing these really meaningful sites. And from I Know Me also, we really thank you for taking out the time and sharing your experiences and tips. Expect failure. Don't be puzzled. You will see a lot more than you expected. You will see students much smarter and as smart as you. So you need to you will sail through. So that's the tip from all of them, all 3 of them from UK and EU. Thank you once again, Aditi, Param, and Vishrut. And with that, once again, good evening to all our participants who are here. And I'm very happy to welcome our students from Canada, Tanvi Anthony from Toronto, Ambika Saklani from McGill, Nayesha Khurana from UBC, and Jiya from UBC. Thank you guys for joining in and welcome to the I Know Me annual student meet. And we are very happy that you have taken out the time to join us this evening and talk to our prospective students and the students who are aiming for these universities that you are in. So to begin with, why don't we just talk about what courses are you pursuing at the university? How did you land up there? How did you choose the courses? How's the experience been? Faculty, lectures, classes, clubs, societies. What has been the interesting part of your journey so far? Right? So who should we begin with? Yes. Any one of you? Or I have to call out?
I can start.
All right, Nayesha. Thank you so much. Yes, go ahead, Nayesha.
Yeah. So, hi everyone, I'm Nayesha. I go to UBC and I'm in Sauder School of Business. I was actually gonna study economics for a long time, and then I saw this course that was business and computer science, and I basically fell in love with the course, and I thought maybe I should get into business school and do a combined major with business and computer science, and that's kind of how I got into it. And yeah, I think what that was it, right?
Yeah. And how's your experience been? Tell us about it.
Yeah, so in terms of when I look at the professors and when I look at it from an education perspective, I think Sauder School of Business is really amazing. The professors that are teaching us are the best of the best. They read a lot. They're very aware of how Harvard School of Business works, so they kind of take strategies from there. Some of them are actually from there as well. So I think I was really happy with the professors that I had. And when I talk to people from other faculties, I can see a difference in my school as a business school. So I think education wise, and not just that, I think our subjects require us to talk a lot, and they require us to kind of show skills apart from just studying and writing papers. And I think that really helps you if you want to pursue a career in business or something that requires more talking.
Okay. And what has been your experience otherwise, other than the ACATs?
I really enjoyed the clubs in UBC. I really liked, I kind of started getting into like tech stuff, and I wanted to get into tech clubs. So I did a bunch of hackathons and I made friends there. So that was something I found really enjoyable. Apart from that, we have a lot of get-togethers, and I think they're really good towards Indian societies because we have Diwali, we have Holi, so you don't feel like you're away from home, or you don't really miss it as much, because I think they have a lot of cultural festivals. So I think it's really great if you like your Indian roots and you don't want to kind of let go of them, because you find people over there who are celebrating these festivals or eating the same food and kind of enjoy it.
Great. So we have Jiya also from UBC. Yes, Jiya.
Yeah,
How
hi.
about your experiences and
Yeah.
what are you pursuing there? Tell us. Yes.
Hi, my name is Jiya, and I just completed my first year at UBC Sauder. And just like her, I really enjoyed my experience. I think even I got really lucky. I think I got the best profs in both of my semesters. And I think just the way the profs teach it, the learning itself, it becomes so much more enjoyable because I found myself like looking forward to going to every class, like without missing any class. And I think like some of the study material, like some of the cases that we've done in Sauder, they've actually picked some of them from Harvard as well. So the professors just really know what to teach you and how to teach you, and they're always available after hours, like no matter when you reach out to them. So I think that's what I've noticed, and that's what's really helped me gain like a few extra points.
Okay, great. Thank you, Jiya. So how about you, Ambika? What are you pursuing and how are your classes been? How's your experience been so far at McGill?
So I'm entering my second year at McGill, and I plan on doing psychology with a minor in management. And what I liked about McGill is that in your first year, even though I was pretty sure about what I was going to major in, you can just take classes from like any faculty that you want. And so I thought that was really nice to let you like explore in case people aren't sure about what they want to study. I definitely think that it's also easy to settle in because I was super shy. I'm a very shy person, so I was super nervous about that first going in. But I think like the Canadian stereotype is also true. Like people over there are very nice. And McGill is also super international. So I think that really helped. People also like did go out of their way, I think, to try and understand my culture and stuff. Because Montreal is also like a student city. And so that's also very nice. Like everywhere you go, there'll be student deals and stuff like that. And professors are also, I think, very easy to reach out to when you go to office hours. They're definitely very accommodating and very helpful. So I'm very grateful for that. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you, Ambika. How about you, Tanvi? How has it been at Toronto?
It's good. I'm at U of T, but I'm not at the Toronto campus downtown. I'm actually at the Mississauga campus, and it works a little differently from the downtown campus. The difference is that you have to work to get into your program after you've already gotten accepted. Like you have to take the courses and get a certain grade, otherwise you don't get into that program, which is something I didn't know going into this, but I'm glad I know it now. And as for the classes and courses, it's been really fun. Like I've taken things that I never would have thought that would interest me. But the professors have really helped bring out that interest, and actually I've decided to do my minors in those classes that I enjoyed. I'm doing psychology, a major in psychology, and a minor in political science and education studies. So it's been good for me.
Okay, great. So, Nayesha did talk about some of the clubs and societies. How about all of you, if you could just, talk about the clubs and societies and the kind of facilities that are available for students at your respective universities? Yes. Yes, Ambika?
So at McGill, there's also like I think there's definitely an Indian association where they have Diwali. We had Holi also for the first time, I think, in a couple of years at McGill. That's nice. But I also think that like it depends on what you want to do. But if there's like intramural sports that you can do, me and my friends did dodgeball in first semester. But then there's also like if you want to academically pursue a club, then there's also like I'm part of the consulting club because I was looking into that for post college. So I think there's definitely like depending on your interest and what like your focus of the club is, there are definitely a lot of options. And there's also just like a lot of like student culture. I think there's like even when you first come in, there's like freshman orientation where like the upper years take you out. So I think that like club culture and student culture is very strong at McGill.
Okay, great. That's great to know. How is it how's been your experience, Jiya?
Yeah, so I'm aware that UBC does have a lot of clubs. However, I wasn't a part of any club during my first year because I just thought I'd take it a little easy during my first year. But I am aware there are a lot of clubs, and there's also an Indian association. But apart from the clubs, I think what my program sorta does is that you're allowed to take like a certain amount of electives, like non-commerce electives, and you're allowed to explore your other interests. So I took an elective in like conservation, and I think I had a lot of fun with that elective because I was able to relate it with my own program. And I also like ended up making a lot of new friends through my other course as well. So I think that was really great.
Okay, wonderful. How has it been at the Mississauga campus, Tanvi, in terms of clubs, societies, and the general student life, apart from acads?
It's very good. It's very different from the downtown campus. Like I think U of T in general has a reputation of being a commuter school, and that is somewhat true, unfortunately. Like a lot of people just come for their classes and leave, but there's also a really high international student population. And compared to the campus downtown, the international student population is pretty similar, but I would say that it's much easier to make friends at my campus because it's a much smaller campus and it's more connected. At the downtown campus, it's like spread all across the city, and it's very difficult to see the same people again. For clubs, I am a part of the Indian Students Association. I think we all go for events like that, and they have Diwali, Holi, everything. But they have a lot of academic societies as well, and a lot of sports societies. But something that I noticed is that there aren't a lot of like fun things to do. There aren't a lot of fun societies. It's always for your academics or to build your portfolio or things like that, which I wasn't really a fan of.
Okay, all right. And cool. But how far is it from the downtown, the Mississauga campus?
If you drive, it's around 40 minutes, but there's a direct shuttle from our campus to the downtown campus that's free for us, and it's around an hour usually.
Okay. And do you have the option of taking some classes at the downtown campus also?
Yeah, you do. The enrollment for that is a little later than the downtown students get it, so it's very difficult to get into those classes because usually they fill up really fast. But I know some of my friends took classes downtown and they commuted on a regular basis and they really liked it. The campus was really different from ours.
All right. And one of the things that our, students and parents, when, they're aiming for the colleges, are really interested or intrigued about is the kind of boarding facilities that you have. So just talk about a little about how's the boarding facility. Is it a dorm? How does it work? Just nature of housing, probably. Yes. Why don't you talk about it, Tanvi? Yes.
I'll go. So,
Yeah.
the downtown campus, there are dorm style residences. It's just like individual rooms and you have communal washrooms. But at my campus, the Mississauga campus, there's a dorm or a townhouse, and I lived in a townhouse first year. It was just like I had my own room and there was another person with their own room, and we had a common kitchen and washroom and living room. And the residence is actually really nice than what I expected, and they're very private. The only thing is it's very difficult to get a spot on campus, especially like in your second year and in your upper years. But even as a first year, if you don't apply by that deadline, there's a chance that you won't get residence, and housing off campus is very difficult because my campus is in a particularly residential neighborhood, and all the houses around are like multi-million-dollar houses, not student housing. So it's quite difficult to find student housing that is affordable and that's an easy commute to campus, especially if you don't have a car.
Okay, so do they provide accommodation for all the 4 years that you're going to be in there?
No, first year is the most likely to get accommodation, but you still may not get it. And as the years go on, it's just more and more difficult. So there are not a lot of upper year students living on campus.
Okay, so where do they live?
They live downtown Mississauga. Is a really common area near like Square One. I don't know if anyone knows where that is, but I was lucky to find a house that's actually walking distance, which most people do not find. Like it's usually the minimum is a 30-minute bus ride. So I got a house that was really, really, really old, and I'm living with 4 other roommates, but it works for me. It's affordable and it's close to campus, so I like it.
Okay, great. How is it at UBC, Jiya? How's the boarding and the housing?
Yeah, so I think our boarding situation is also a little bit similar to U of T's boarding situation. I like first years have guaranteed housing on campus, but then upper years do not. So you have to apply for year-round housing. There's this thing called year-round housing, and you have to apply for it. I think the I applied for it before moving to UBC, before moving to Canada, and I still haven't gotten it. So you kind of like on a wait list for particular housing. And then as time goes by, your wait list number decreases, and then you only get it when you have a chance to get it. Like I applied before leaving for Canada last year, and I still haven't gotten it. So I'm also looking for a place outside campus, which is for, I think in Vancouver, it's a little harder to find a place off campus, mainly because everything's just really expensive. But a few places that upper year students do end up getting places, houses are at this place called Dunbar, and near Kitsilano Beach or something like that. So even I'm looking around there. I haven't found anything yet, but yeah.
All right, good luck with that. How is it at McGill, Ambika? How's the housing and
So even we only have like housing guarantee for the first year, and at McGill there are 7 types of like 7 different residences, and I think each residence has like its own like different like vibe. Like there's one residence that's considered like the social residence, and there are like quiet residences for people who want to study more. And second year onwards, you start living in an apartment, but like there's this place that's known as the McGill Ghetto that's only 2 minutes from campus. And so I'm living there. Like most people live there because it's like such a student city that the prices are also affordable for students. You also have like hotel style dormitories, dorm style dormitories. You can also have roommates. So I kind of liked how there's a lot of like variations. You basically rank all your residences, and then there's like a lottery situation. You get it accordingly.
Okay. Nayesha, how's it been your experience with the housing?
It's actually pretty similar to Jiya's. I did campus housing for the second semester. And after that, I also applied to Euron before I went, and I'm still on the wait list for that. And I have also been apartment hunting. I think one tip I would give people if they're going is start apartment hunting by Jan, your second semester, because a lot of people, it's not something that's going to take you a couple of weeks or a month. It's definitely going to be more than that. And I was discussing it with my roommate, who was basically from Jan to March, she was going to interviews because you have interviews sometimes that you have to go and meet the landlords and talk to them. And they get like 40, 50 applications every day. So it's really hard to get picked as well. So it's good that you start early. I'm also still figuring out my second year situation. I have no idea what's going to happen, but yeah, I think you can apply in your second year for dorms and you can apply for campus housing, but you're not the first priority. So I've not heard people usually getting it. So it's because it's
Okay.
usually for first year.
So housing seems to be a challenge, right? Second year onwards. And that's what I get the message, especially, at the Canadian universities. But I'm sure like everyone ends up getting an option, right? How have you been talking to your seniors? How has it been? They would have all gotten some accommodation in the upper years. Have you been talking to your seniors yet? Not yet. Yes, Jiya?
Oh, yeah. So I just know like two people, but I think they've gotten accommodation very far away from campus. I think it's like a 40-minute commute, which is not really the most desirable situation to be in because people have 8 a.m. classes. But I mean, it is what it is. And I think you're just lucky if you find housing.
All
So I
right.
think I'm just going to look at it that way. Yeah.
Yeah, great. Because I guess the university experience makes up for it. So you take it up as a challenge and as you go along and as you mature. Okay. All right. So another thing that often comes up in our conversations is about the career services. So how are the career services, the internship opportunities, as we call it in India, the placement opportunities? I know you all have been in the, you just had a couple of semesters at the universities, but how has been your experiences? Are there companies coming in? Are there career fairs? Are you, exposed to other career service center? Tell us your experiences with that. Yes, Ambika, would you like to go ahead with that?
So there's definitely a lot of like academic advisors and they're easy to reach out to, but in Montreal, it's tough to get a job if you don't speak French because it is a very like bilingual city and people also they're very like proud of their French identity. So it's unlikely if you don't speak French to get a job. So I think most people who don't speak French end up getting internships and stuff in Toronto. I haven't actually like tried for an internship in Canada yet, but I think I will in my second year. But I definitely think that at least in like the business school and stuff, companies do come for like recruitment and internships.
All right. How has been your experience, Nayesha, on these? Have you had a chance to explore the career services that university offers?
Yeah, definitely. So Sauder has a career center inside, which I think is really, really helpful. And what they basically do is you can book appointments and you can talk to them and they help you with any process of the career, starting from your resume to where to apply and what to do towards it. And apart from that, I think almost every second day I see like a KPMG or a Deloitte booth in Sauder. So it's their career fairs are always happening. They have more structured career fairs, like I think it's around once a month, but every day you'll see a booth or something like that, and you can always talk about it and you can always ask them questions. And I really appreciate the students there's students who work in the career center, and they usually happen to be students who have gotten opportunities and jobs in places that you would want to go to. So I think their advice is actually really helpful. And when you're talking to them, they actually give you steps of what they did and what you can do. So I personally feel like they guide us pretty well. I'm still not in the fourth year place, so I don't know how the placement's gonna go, but
Yeah.
I do feel like they help really well.
All right. That's really nice. You've also had the similar experience, Jiya, at UBC Sadar?
Yeah. I do. There's a career center in the Sauder School of Business, and I think you can drop in as well if you have like a really important question or if it's a really urgent situation, and they're always accessible through meetings. Like you can book an appointment whenever you have the time to, and you can book an appointment online as well if it's convenient for you. And during my first year, I had this one class, and during the discussion time of it, I think they'd invited upper year students to speak about their experiences and internships. And I would say internship wise, I don't think a lot of first year students do end up getting internships. But I think during your second year and third year, there's a really high chance of you getting internships, provided you use all their resources like efficiently, and like you actually attend the career fests and stuff. So I think there's a really high chance of you getting internships during your second and third years. And as far as like placements after fourth years, I'm not really sure about that because I'm not in that position yet. But I'm sure like you do get good placements as far as I've heard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Nayesha, you want to add something?
Yeah, just adding on to that, there are also a lot of campus opportunities that are not like the banking and proper opportunities, but we have a lot of like you can be a campus tour, you can be in charge of the residence. So there's like a lot of jobs you can do, or maybe you can be in charge of the career center. So there are a lot of things that you can do like that as well, which I know that a lot of students get into. They're all paid jobs, and we also have a work learn program that you can get into in the start of your second year, where you're basically involved in working towards some campus facility. I think it's 10 hours a week. It's pretty chill and it's really fun. And you get to kind of work on campus, and a lot of students get into that as well.
Okay, great. That's great to know. Tanvi, how's been your experience
Um,
in terms of the career services?
yeah, I wanted to add on to what she said. We also have a lot of like on-campus work and study kind of opportunities, like residence, and you get free residence the whole year, or you can work at the career center or the international student center, and they're really good opportunities that like help your resume and things like that. In terms of internship opportunities, they do have a lot of career fairs where different companies come. But for me personally, I was talking to an academic advisor, and it is really difficult to get internship opportunities. Psychology student, like going into clinical psychology, a lot of people wouldn't trust like a first year, second year student to be in charge of their health and things like that. So there are a lot of restrictions that comes with it. But I think after like third, fourth year, things get a lot better, and especially after you graduate.
All right, great. That's really wonderful and very, very good insights to have from the universities that you're a part of. Now, for the benefit of our students, what is the tip that you would like to give them who are looking at joining or applying to the universities you are in? So just one tip or advice to the prospective students. Yes. Anyone? Yes, Nayesha?
Since we're talking about housing, I would say just have a rough plan of housing. If you know people, start talking to them already. Start early and apply for your own housing even before you go. It's really gonna help you.
And any tip on the application process? Any specific extracurriculars or anything that you think got you in?
I definitely think that when you streamline your experiences and you collect them together, that's very helpful. Like for me personally, I did a lot of things that were like scattered. So when I was applying, I tried to get them together and kind of have like one streamlined thing that I was doing. And I was doing a bunch of experiences on the side to prove that I'm interested in so and so thing. And I think if you're applying, especially to Sauder or even to any other UBC facility, the more you show them that you're good at something and you're really passionate, the more you get in, and I guess you get scholarships as well.
Okay, all right. Yes, Ambika, what's your tip to the students?
So for the application, the McGill application is super straightforward. You just need to give your grades and there's nothing else. There's no essay or anything, which is convenient. Otherwise, I would say that you should definitely like surround yourself with the correct people, because I think it's very easy, like when you go to university, to not focus so much on academics because there's like so much freedom. But I feel like if you surround yourself with like the correct people who also go to the library, then you really like are able to get like the work hard, party hard like balance, which I think is super important, especially in like first year.
Great. That's a great tip to have. Yes, Tanvi, what do you have to say to that?
It's very similar. They do call it U of Tears for a reason, and I didn't realize that before I joined, and now I've really realized it. And it's really difficult. Like from high school, it's such a big jump, and academics are honestly the most important part of it. Like my application, like McGill, was just my grades. They don't really focus on anything else. And you have to maintain certain grades to get into your program. And those are very difficult grades because you're competing with your peers. So once you get in, everyone's as smart as you or even smarter, and it's very difficult. You have to be able to put in that work. And there are a lot of other, like U of T doesn't have as much of a campus life or a social life, I would say, as other universities I've seen in the Greater Toronto area, especially. Like over there, I know like coming from here, you don't hear of maybe McMaster or Waterloo or Western as much because they're not as highly ranked. But over there, everyone sees them on a similar level, and those students there have more well-rounded lives. So make a decision wisely, and if you are able to commit to it, then do it because it's worth it.
Great. That's wonderful tip. Yes, Jiya, what's your advice to the students?
Yeah, so I'd just like to add on to the academics part. I think the way assignments and quizzes and stuff, it's that's graded in university, it's very different from high school. And I think as Indian students, like we're like a few of them, like we're used to lenient marking and stuff. And I think that's not like it's not like that in university. And for me, it was a really big thing because I was not used to getting like such low grades in some of my assignments because like over there getting a 70% or a 72%, it's a very big thing apparently. And those are some of the highest grades in the class. So I think definitely expect that and don't let that discourage you or like, make you upset or something. Because at the end of the day, like there are everyone's on the same boat as you and it should like you should not feel that you're like lagging behind or something. So just don't let that discourage you and just keep working hard. Yeah.
Okay, great. Keep working hard. Enjoy the university life also, and get ready for the grind. It sounds like that. And on that note, thank you so much, Jiya, Tanvi, Nayesha, Ambika, for joining in and sharing your experiences and very, very meaningful insights about your college life with our participants. To all those who've joined you, once again, very good evening from I Know Me. And with that, thank you very much. And we move on to our next section of the Indian universities. And I see already we have the speakers joined in. Isha is here, right? I think, yeah.
Yeah. Nischita,
Nischita is
Ayan,
here,
Arshiya,
Ashoka.
and Prithvi, all of them are here.
He is here from Krea. Arshiya Mehra is here, who just graduated from Flame this year, and a very happy birthday, Arshiya. Thank you for joining in. Ayan Baveja also from Flame. Thank you guys for joining in. We have our participants who are very keen to hear about your experiences. And once again, really thank you all to take out the time to talk to our students. So we start with just share your experiences at your respective universities. How did you land up there? What courses did you pursue? What was the student life like? How's the faculty? And any specific insights that you may have with your experience. So who should we start with? You can volunteer. Nischita, should we? Go ahead on Ashoka. Yes, thank you. Yes, you are.
All right. So hi everybody, my name is Nischita. So I'm currently entering my third year of my undergraduation in Ashoka University, and my major is psychology and my minor is performing arts. So when I was sort of choosing my applications and choosing shortlisting my universities, I decided to try out Ashoka, Krea, and Plaksha. So I obviously enrolled with I Know Me, and I tried my luck in the first round itself of all three universities, and I got through the interview round and the application and aptitude tests of all the three universities, and I ended up shortlisting Ashoka. And as I felt that I was a liberal arts university and that I entirely wasn't sure what I wanted to pursue after my sort of +1, +2 here at Bangalore. So I decided to just, try out the various subjects and the foundation courses that are available at Ashoka and see what, I would end up sort of liking. So when I joined, I was leaning towards biology and computer science, but I tried out psychology and I happen to love it now. And I've chosen that as my major and I couldn't be happier. And so yeah, that's my experience with respect to sort of, how I joined Ashoka and what I'm majoring in.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you, Nischita. How's your experience been, Isha? What are
Uh,
you doing at Ashoka?
so I'm entering my second year at Ashoka. I'm also a psychology major. I had thought of applying to other liberal arts colleges in India, but I'd actually just applied to Ashoka in the first round, and luckily I got in. And I mean, the foundation courses in the beginning, like the first sem, I had one course called Grade Books with Madhvi Menon, and I think that really like changed my outlook towards Ashoka as a whole. Um, I would say it's uh it's been like a good year. You have to really like push yourself socially and in terms of exploring your courses, because nobody is going to um hold your hand, and it's a little overwhelming. But yeah, so I'm happy I got in. I'm having a good time.
All right, great. Thank you. And Arshiya, how has it been for you? You are now a graduate of Flame. So tell
Yeah.
us how it's going.
Okay,
Yes.
so hi everyone. I am Arshiya. I recently graduated from Flame. So the experience there is honestly great, but one of the things that I would like to tell everyone who's pursuing going there would be like, you personally need to make most of the opportunity there. Like everyone, all the faculty, all the people, like they're there to help you 100%. But it's more of a self-initiative platform where you take self-initiative, and be it academics, be it extracurriculars, it all depends on you and how much you can handle. So I recently, I've graduated with a major in business analytics and a minor in digital marketing and communications. And initially, when I landed there, I didn't know what I was going to do. We had a first year full of exploratory courses, like the foundation year. We have something called universe of knowledge, where we take subjects from different fields, such as sciences or social sciences, applied maths and stuff like that, until you finally decide what you like and what you want to pursue. So this is what I went in for, and it was a great experience.
Okay, wonderful. How has been your experience, Ayan, at Flame?
So for me, I had gone with the intentions of applying for economics and finance, or going into the BSc Data Science and Economics course. And the first year, so like it was mentioned, uh, Flame can't push you to do anything, but it has these universal knowledge requirements, which really just means that you have a requirement of two courses from every field. So science, arts, social sciences, humanities, all of them, right? Yeah, that includes two language courses. And through that, if you've gone in with a decided mindset, you may be able to change it, or you may be able to affirm your choice much better by the time you go into your second year. Or if you are completely uncertain, you'll definitely have an idea by the time you have to decidedly declare your major and minor. So for me, it was going. I decided that I don't want to get into data science. I want to stick to economics with a minor in finance.
Okay, that's great. So how's it been at Krea, Prithvi? How's your experience been? What major are you pursuing?
Pretty good. I started off at Krea in July. I wasn't really sure what I was going to major in, but then, they have trimesters there instead of STEM semesters. So like we have trimester one, trimester two, and trimester three, and that sort of makes up the whole year. And doing the courses are pretty flexible. So the first two trimesters offer, compulsory courses, which are pretty easy actually. So my first year was pretty chill. You do stuff like writing an oral communication, which is essentially, you learning how to write an academic paper, which is pretty helpful later on. So that helped me, and these courses helped me realize my major, which is now I'm doing economics in my second year. And I'd say that settling in at Krea was, it took maybe a week or two to settle in, but once you settle in, it's a lot of fun. Once you find your people, you start enjoying it because Kriya is in South India and being a North Indian, I was exposed to like a new culture, and there were a lot of people from Bangalore, Chennai, and a slightly different crowd from North India. So overall, I say it's pretty good. I'm enjoying life there. So yeah,
And finally, what major have you chosen, or you was yet
economics.
economics only? Okay, great. All right. So to all of you, that's useful to know. And how has the student life been in terms of clubs and societies, and joining a club or even starting a club? How does the university offer you opportunities? Yes, who would like to go first?
I could answer this.
Yes, Prithvi, tell us.
So starting clubs is actually pretty easy in my college. You just have to send out an email. I mean, everything is mostly student run. So you just have to send out an email that, I'm doing, suppose you're starting a book club. So just say in classroom 1A, we're doing book club, and then everyone who wants to show up will show up, or you're going to send out a form and people will sign up, and then you have to get it approved by the authorities, and then you can actually become, if you have enough participation, you can become a club.
Okay, great. So have you started one, or are you planning to start one there?
No, I did participate in some, but I haven't started any myself. So yeah.
Okay, all right, great. Who's gone next on this question? Yes, how's
Okay.
it? Yeah,
can-
Arshiya, tell us.
So, Flame already has n number of clubs, be it the cultural committee or be it the sports one. Um, you can join or leave any group based on your disposal. So totally depends on what you enjoy doing. So when I say cultural, I mean dance, music, photography, and stuff like that. And when I say sports, it's like football, basketball, table tennis, and we have n number of clubs there as well. Um, how to start a club is also pretty easy, but it is a process. One of my, like a few of my friends actually started a club in front of me, so I've seen the whole process very closely. When you come up with a club you actually want to start, you do have to take it to the authorities and you need to get it approved. And by approved, it's not like, oh, this club already, like this club does not exist, so let us start this one. It doesn't work like that. You have to show that these are the activities we can undertake, and this is how it's going to help the student life, or this is how it will be an entertaining part of the student life. So and maybe you give some examples of the events you're going to be like doing. So there's like this whole process where you need to justify why you're opening this club, and it's not that difficult, but it's a process to go
Okay,
about.
great.
Yeah.
Yes, how's it at Ashoka?
Should I answer that?
Yes, please.
Yeah, so actually, like Arshiya said, similar situation. You basically write out a proposal and sort of submit it to one of the admin teams, and then they call you and you sort of pitch the whole thing. And if it seems like, so they obviously ask you to test it out, and then if it seems like the student body is interested and there is like feedback happening and things like that, then they go ahead with it. And there are a number of clubs and societies happening. So that culture is very prominent at Ashoka. And so you have, ample opportunity and space to sort of showcase your own, talents in like a club and society and anything of that sort.
Okay.
I'd just like to add one thing. Since I'm a part of a few clubs, I've just noticed that there's like a lot of like you have to put in a lot of effort if you want to get into like a leadership position, and there's a lot of competition in terms of like the internal working of the clubs. I don't know if it's just my clubs, but I've noticed that to be like a trend. So if you want to pursue heading a club, I would say start putting in work from the first sem itself.
Okay, that's a great tip. Ayan, would you like to add your experiences with the clubs and societies and the student life there?
I I sort of avoided the clubs for the most part, but I will say this. So yes, the process of starting a club requires not only approval from Flames authorities, it also requires a good approval from the Flames student body. So right now, there's a couple of forms floating about on the student groups for people who might be interested. I think it was an anime club or something. So not that I filled it, but there are people who are interested in just to go. This is a form that I think will go back to flame authorities to show that support and interest. Beyond that, yeah, there's too many clubs currently. It's there's clubs for subjects, there's clubs for stuff like MUNs and debate. There's clubs for all the sports we have. There's clubs for chess. So there's lots of clubs, lots of things you can do. Participating in a club is as simple as just getting on that WhatsApp group. Leadership positions, I think you get applications just from the beginning of the year itself. So right now we just had a huge round of applications for various leadership positions at the clubs. People have applied, people have gotten selected, people have been appointed. Some are still like, I think we got a few days back as well. So lots of clubs, lots of effort.
Great. So that's lovely to know. And what about the career services? In terms of internships or career opportunities, how do these universities look at or providing opportunities for the students in the first, second, third year or post, even in the last year? Yes. Yes, Nischita, would you like to talk about the opportunities at Ashoka, the career services?
Yeah, sure. So there is an office called the Career Development Office or CDO. So they mostly handle things that come related to internships and the placement programs as well. So so we have like a profile on this app called Superset where Ashoka is sort of linked up with it. So we have different internship opportunities that appear on it in different internship cycles. So during a semester, there is sort of a cycle, an internship cycle, and you have to, upload your various details to get your profile verified, and you have various, POCs who are allotted to you, and you generate like a resume through Superset, and you find, internships. So either you work part-time while you're in your semester, or during your winter break or summer break. And with respect to placements, like now as I'm entering my third year, there's an option for us to enroll in the placement cycle. So it's a whole process, and they prepare us for interviews and resume building, etc. And also it's a walk-in office. Like you have any query or doubt, you can write them an email, or walk into the office and just shoot your queries. And you can also do internships outside of Ashoka that you've acquired on your own. Run it by them and get your credit that way.
All right, perfect. How has been your experience, Arshiya, at Flame in terms of internships and the career opportunities?
Right. So, like Nischita also said, we also have a department who actually looks at all of your career development and basically all of career orientation things. But there are like sub departments as well. There's something called the HEX department. She's a career counselor who helps you develop your resume, who helps you build up for higher education, your CV, whatever you want to do next. Then we have a whole career department who would always mailing you opportunities, like there are opportunities in this place, that place, agencies. And I think this is a tip I would like to give everyone who's applying, like be active on your email, because there's a lot of things going on campus which you're not aware about. But if you check your email, you get everything in your inbox. There are professionals coming in giving talks based on the subjects you actually like. You can talk to them after their session is over on the
basically network with them,
sorry,
right?
yes, I'm so sorry. Yeah. So basically you can talk to them about how their experience has been, how your like basically just ask them questions about what your like their field, what interests you, and just sort of make most out of the opportunity there, because there's a lot to gain from when it comes to the career services.
Right. How's been your experience, Isha?
So I don't know, but for me, the psychology, like I couldn't get a psychology internship through Ashoka, maybe because I'm a first year. So I had to really look through LinkedIn and all of that, and finally I landed up with an internship. And some of my friends have also faced a similar issue, but a lot of the students who are pol sci majors or ecofin majors, they got pretty good internships and like in pretty renowned companies. So I'm sure like the superset thing that Nischita talked about is helpful.
Great. How is it at Krea, Prithvi?
It's pretty similar to Flame, I guess, because you got to be active on your email. Um, Krea sends you, I mean, you have an email ID for the career counselor, and you can either go to the office and book an appointment, or you can email the career counselor and book an appointment. And regarding internships, they have an internship roster every, summer. So they start before the summer, and then the university has like direct links connecting to those companies. And there's corporate internships, there's social service internships, and as far as I remember, there was also a psychology internship or two here and there in the roster. So yeah.
Great. So Ayan, with Flame students, I also heard that, they give you a list of companies that you can apply for internships within, after your second year. And in the first year, there's an internship that is compulsory with a community service or an NGO. Is that so with the Flame students?
Yes, ma'am. So Flame calls that the DAP Developmental Activities Program. It's something we all do in our summer term of the first year. So I just finished that period for it. I have my report open on the tab. You have to work with an NGO or anything. It should be technically, you should usually be an NGO. The committee recommends it be an NGO. They're fine with CSR activities as well.
Okay.
And after that, if 150 hours you have to spend over there, however directed to you by your field supervisor, that's whoever is supervising you from the organization. You basically put Flame in touch with this field supervisor through forms and this and that.
Oh,
and at
okay.
the end of your period, you have a report you have to finish writing. So 150 hours are done by June 30th. After that, you write a report submission by 15 July. And post that, you will be giving a viva as well. My internship was, for example, with the Earth Savers Foundation. So I live in Gurgaon, that's in Bandwari. It's an old age home for
Yeah.
abandoned senior citizens. So that's what my internship was. I have friends who've done internships with Umang, Aftertaste, Literacy India. Some friends have done it with Iron Gurgaon as well. So it depends on where you live for the most part. And for this specifically, what they did, so they give us a massive Excel list of places where Flame students have gone before. They don't tell you where you should go, where you can. They'll tell you here always where it's definitely feasible, where it's happened before. Figure it out. So they don't stop you. So you're also assigned a mentor from Flame who can tell you all of these things. So if you go up to them and say, okay, this is the place. No one's gone here before. Can you please let me know if it's fine? They will vet the place for you and tell you that, yeah, sure, you can do your internship here. So it's very transparent on all ends. It's transparent with the organization is transparent with Flame, Flame is transparent with you. So it's pretty much.
That's great. So there's a lot of hand-holding when it comes to, internships also, right?
For this one, I think so, yes.
Okay. All right. Great. So that's very good insights on the relevant questions that we usually get from the parents and students. Before we kind of end this meet, one last tip for the students who are aiming for the colleges you are in. What would you like to say to the students? Yes. Prithvi.
Oh, well, my college starts tomorrow. I'm leaving tomorrow, so there's not much you can do to get in now. But if you're coming, then well, you should expect a different crowd, a new crowd. Make sure like to prepare everything well, and you'll be able to socialize well in your first week. There's like buddy sessions where seniors sort of, take you around the campus, and they tell you about the buildings, the sports, and all that, and you get to socialize as well. So yeah, socializing is pretty easy in the first year because your studies are also not as hard as they were in 12th, 11th, and all that. So yeah, I think it's going to be a fun ride.
And what's the tip to when they apply? How should they actually prepare to get there?
Well, the application process is pretty similar to Ashoka and Flame. You have to first fill out, a form, essays, and all that. So make sure that your essays are genuine, and in your interview, you should actually go through the application before that because the interviewer can just ask you anything from the application. So you give a thorough read of your application and make sure you mention one or two books because everyone I know got asked about books and reading. So I think that would be pretty important.
That's a useful tip. Make sure you read books and know about them, right? While you're preparing for it. Yes. What about Flame? How should they prepare for the admission process, or any specific tip that you want to give to the students?
Okay, I'll go first. I would say that everyone, like I've said this in the beginning of like the start as well, but I'd say it again, like Flame helps you like Flame makes you world ready. It really does. I remember when I started interning last summer, I thought it's going to be really hard because it was the first time I was stepping into the world, so called. But it wasn't hard. I was able to manage everything smoothly. It makes your CV ready. So, like we spoke about DAP, that's a community service thing. Then the second summer break, you're supposed to do something called SIP, which is your summer internship program. So that's also mandatory. You go through a round of for certain semesters, even sports is compulsory. Then there's something called Discover India program, in which you actually write a research paper with a group of other students. So that way you have like a really good developmental and holistic approach to like when it comes to Flame. But the main thing I would like to say is it all depends on you. Like there are people there to help you, even the students, the community, like they're all very helpful, even the community of students, teachers, faculty, everyone. But you should want that help to get that help.
Wonderfully put.
Yeah.
Thank you, Arshiya. So what's your tip to the students, Ayan?
I mean, while applying, I think
Yeah,
it's
while
best.
applying, what
So
should they look at?
while
Yes.
while applying, definitely sort of have answers for everything, because they will like not in the sense that they want to interrogate you about it, but in the sense I think they look for very well-rounded individuals from the get-go. So if you haven't done something, why might you not have done that? And if you have done something, how has it helped you? Those kinds of questions often come up. And I think if you have answers for those, you'll be pretty sorted, I mean, throughout the entire process itself. Other than that, I mean, while you're at Flame, I would recommend taking initiative for whatever you want that includes your studies. Because I mean, it's not difficult to get more than passing marks at Flame. That's pretty easy actually. But if you want to get above that, you have to put in a good amount of extra effort all on your own, irrespective of how good the professor is.
Great. Thank you so much. So what's your tip to the students, Nischita?
Actually, similar to what Ayan said, just be very, be yourself, be genuine, be honest, and read books if you can, and just like Ayan said, they just looking for, it's a holistic application process, right? So they're just looking for well-rounded individuals, and they're obviously not going to pinpoint you, if you've not done something and if you've done something, but just have answers to everything and just be you. Yeah.
Okay, great. That's a useful tip. Yes, Isha, what is the tip that you would like to give to the students?
I would say have like something to say outside your application, because my interviewer asked me something in the beginning about something that wasn't mentioned in my application, and the entire interview was based on that. So show them that you're not the accumulation of your application. And in terms of college life, I would say college in general really takes you by surprise, and it breaks down a lot of your expectations of what you had, which is not necessarily a bad thing. So I think go with an open mind, and yeah.
Great. That's a beautiful tip. Go with an open mind, be yourself, take it as it comes, take the initiatives, be genuine in your approach. So, on that note, thank you very much, all of you, for joining in. Thank you, Arshiya, for joining in on your birthday. Happy birthday once again. And
Thank you.
thank you, Nischita. Thank you, Isha. Thank you, Ayan. Thank you, Prithvi, for sharing very, very useful and meaningful insights and tips for our students. And that brings us to the end of the session today and the student meet. Once again, thank you to all. Thanks, Romi
Thank
and
you, everyone. Thank you, Anjana, for conducting this so beautifully. And thank you all the students who joined us today and gave us such wonderful insights. Thank you so much. Have a good
You
evening.
guys, thank you guys, and all the best. Here's to a great college career for all of you and all of our students who joined us, students and parents who've been hearing them. Best wishes to everybody. Go crack it in life.
Thank
And
you.
enjoy your weekend.
Bye.